What's up everybody, I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install a new bathroom sink faucet. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's go change and get this done. Come on. Alright, so I just got finished putting the vanity in. The backsplash has been set, should be good to go. Now we just need to install this faucet. Now you can pick up any kind of faucet that you want at the hardware store. The important thing that you need to look for is how many holes are in the countertop and if it's a narrow spread or a wide spread faucet. If it's a prefab countertop like this one, it'll tell you whether it's a narrow or a wide spread. If you're having a custom countertop put in, they can drill for whatever it is that you need to install. But we've got this Moen faucet. It's a narrow spread faucet. We're gonna go ahead and get started installing this right now.
You can see we're gonna have to get under the sink in a tight spot. This will give you an overview of how everything's gonna go together. First thing we're gonna do is put the gasket on the faucet body. This creates a watertight seal and helps prevent leaks. Check the instructions for your faucet. Some still use a different kind of gasket that recommends you use plumber's putty, but this one doesn't. Attach the mounting nuts to the threaded shanks on the hot and cold taps underneath the sink. Ridgid makes this really cool tool that makes installing faucets so much easier because you can get a solid grip on the components that you're trying to tighten. You can still use an adjustable wrench or pliers to tighten everything down if that's all you have. When attaching the supply lines, if they have a rubber gasket, you don't need to use Teflon tape, but there's nothing wrong with having an extra layer of protection if you want to. You can use a wrench to tighten the supply lines, but I like how this tool has a notch down the center that allows you to go over the line and then tighten the nut. Now take the lift rod for the pop-up assembly and feed it through the faucet body. Next, we're going to install the parts that make up the assembly that'll connect to the P-trap and the rest of the home's drain system. Clean around the opening at the bottom of the sink. The metallic piece in the bottom of the sink that you see is called a waste seat. Grab that and apply a generous amount of plumber's putty on the underside of it. This is what creates a seal and keeps water from leaking around that part. Go ahead and assemble the drain gasket, the washer, the drain nut, all on the drain body. You only need to put the washer right below the overflow openings on the drain body, and it's important that you put these in the right order. Then you're going to place the waste seat in the bottom of the sink, while at the same time, from underneath the sink, threading the drain body onto the waste seat. Make sure that the opening on the drain body for the pivot arm is facing the back of the sink. Hand tighten the drain nut and then use adjustable pliers to tighten it the rest of the way. As you tighten it, it's going to cause the excess putty to squeeze out around the top. Go ahead and remove that once you're done. Now you do want to apply Teflon tape to this tail piece and then screw it into the bottom of the drain body. Only hand tighten it, that's all it needs. Next, we're going to take the lift rod strap and slide it over the lift rod. Then we're going to tighten the nut until it makes contact against the lift rod and won't slide off. The ball-shaped part of the pivot arm is going to insert into the opening on the back of the drain body. Then tighten the pivot nut. You want it tight enough that water's not going to leak out and also that the pivot arm doesn't just fall, but you don't want it so tight that you have to struggle to lift it. This next part is a little tricky with one hand up under the sink, so I'm going to show you here so you can see. Whichever hole you end up using on the lift rod strap, the clamp needs to go on around the strap before you put the strap on the pivot arm. You don't want the strap to be sliding up and down the pivot arm like this. So under the sink, push the pivot rod down and place the clip over the closest hole on the strap and then slide that over the pivot rod. Verify that the sink stopper works the way you want it to by moving the lift arm up and down. Once you're happy with that, go back up under the sink and with a pair of pliers, tighten the nut that's on the strap so that it doesn't come loose. Since mine's kind of like a new install, I'm going to go ahead and hook up the supply lines to the valves coming out of the wall, and again, since they have a rubber gasket in them, I'm not going to use Teflon tape. Then use a wrench to get them all the way tight. If you're replacing an old faucet, you probably already have the P-trap and the other pieces needed to connect to your drain. I threw those pieces out with the old sink, so I went ahead and picked up a P-trap kit at the hardware store. Put the pieces together and see if you need to make any adjustments to pipes that are too long or too short. You can see here where the piece that goes into the drain coming out of the wall needs to be trimmed down. Now that the P-trap's in the right location, you can see that this tail piece doesn't come down far enough to reach the P-trap. So I went back to the hardware store, and after getting the right piece, I had to cut it to length and finish assembling everything. Make sure you have all the couplings and washers in the right place before you tighten everything down. Once you're sure everything fits together the way that it should, don't forget to tighten down all the nuts. Otherwise, you're going to end up with leaks. And you don't have to over-tighten these. Tightening them by hand is all you need to do. Now you're ready to turn the water on and start checking for leaks. Sometimes debris can get stuck in the lines during the manufacturing or installation process, and you should remove this diffuser and let the water run for a few seconds to make sure that all of that debris is flushed out of the lines. Put the diffuser back in and make sure that everything works. The last thing I'll usually do is test and make sure that there's no leaks in the sink or the drains that I put together. I like to fill the sink up and then pull the stopper and check for leaks. I'm going to caulk around the edges and then call this project done.
With the right tools and maybe a couple of trips to the hardware store, this is something that you can absolutely do yourself if you feel comfortable doing this type of thing. If you don't, that's okay. You should be able to call a plumber, and any plumber should be able to come and do a project like this for you. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give us a thumbs up. It lets us know you like the videos that we're making. And if you do like the videos we're making, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified next time we release a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with your next project. Until next time, see ya.